In the year 2479, deep space was quiet, silent, lifeless, or so humanity believed. Far beyond the outer rim of known space, a signal pulsed from a dead star system. It was weak, but unmistakable. It repeated the same strange pattern again and again, as if it was waiting for someone to notice, and someone did. On Earth, inside a high-security command center buried beneath the Arctic ice, the signal was received and decoded. It wasn't natural, it wasn't human, it was something else, something old. The Earth Defense Assembly acted quickly. They activated the one ship never meant to be used unless the unknown knocked first. The HSS Behemoth. Hidden from the galaxy, the Behemoth was humanity's largest warship. A Titan-class vessel built in silence, 2 miles long, covered in reinforced armor, carrying weapons no one outside Earth had ever seen. Most humans didn't even know it existed. Its launch was not broadcast, no announcement was made. Only a handful of senior commanders and elite crew boarded quietly. Scientists, diplomats, soldiers, all trained for one mission: first contact with the unknown. As the Behemoth powered up, its engines glowed with quiet fury. One order echoed through the ship: prepare for first contact. The ship left Earth's orbit and vanished into faster-than-light travel, heading toward the source of the signal. Unknown space. At the same time, in a distant part of the galaxy, the Galactic Council held a routine meeting. Dozens of alien species filled the massive chamber, discussing trade routes, border conflicts, and the usual political drama. One low-ranking scout droid brought forward a report. Humans have activated a deep space vessel, it said. The room left. Humans, one alien ambassador said. They are still new, still primitive, they can barely hold their own system, another added. Let them play with their toys. But then the scout showed them the image. The Behemoth. No. One laughed now. On the massive screen, the human ship appeared from faster-than-light travel. Its shape was unnatural, its hull black as night. Its weapons powered, but not firing. It moved like it didn't fear anything. Like it never had to. An alien general stood slowly, staring at the screen. His voice was low. That is not a ship. That is a planet killer. The council chamber fell silent. Meanwhile, the Behemoth approached the signal's origin. The crew stared through the windows as something appeared in front of them. A structure, not a ship, not a station. It was enormous, floating in space like a ghost. No lights, no life signs. Just silence. The ship scanned the object. No heat, no movement. But still, the signal was coming from inside it. A boarding team was assembled. They entered through a massive circular gate. Inside, the air was still. The walls were covered in strange carving symbols from many alien languages. One of the human scientists read them out loud. Do not awaken what sleeps below. The team kept moving. Their footsteps echoed. Lights flickered. The deeper they went, the colder it became. In the main chamber, they found a console still powered. A glowing screen turned on as they approached. It had only one word written in hundreds of languages. Run the lights, shut off. A low hum filled the air. The Behemoth's crew back on the ship watched from their monitors. Then the signal stopped, but something else started. A new pulse, faster, stronger, coming from below the alien structure. A massive energy signature began to rise. The captain gave the order, get them out of there, now. Back in the Galactic Council, alarms went off. Every sensor across 5 systems detected a power surge near the human ship. The Council watched in real time as the Behemoth charged weapons and prepared to defend itself. The alien ambassadors looked at each other, confused, nervous. What have the humans done? One whispered, they've awakened something. Another replied. The Behemoth slowly turned its hull, aiming its weapons not at the alien structure, but around it, watching, waiting. Inside the dark alien building, something moved. Inside the alien structure, the human boarding team froze. The only light came from their helmets and a faint red glow from the screen. The word was still there. Run. The scientist stepped closer, trying to read more from the ancient console. Before he could touch anything, the screen blinked. A new set of symbols appeared, different languages, none of them human. Some were unfamiliar even to the Behemoth's translation systems. The ship's AI, Athena, began decoding them. These symbols do not match any known pattern, she said. They appear to be mixed, mismatched code. Possibly corrupted or ancient dialects. The screen changed again. This time, The message was clear. You were not supposed to find this. The team leader, Commander Rivas, called back to the behemoth. We need immediate extraction. Something's wrong. Back on the ship, the crew began pulling the team out using tethered drones and shuttles. As they exited, a low rumble passed through the alien structure. Small cracks formed in the walls. The lights inside flickered, then died completely. Once the team was back on board, the ship moved to a safer distance. The alien object remained silent. No more power signatures. No more messages, but the crew had already brought something back. Athena reported that the structure had transmitted something into the ship's data systems during the mission, a compressed message packet. Deeply encrypted. It was locked behind more than 50 layers of security, written in codes not even the most advanced AI could break easily. The science team began working on the data. Slowly, a pattern emerged. It's not just a message. One of the scientists said, it's a warning, but not for us. It was for someone else or something else. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council, panic was building. Scouts had confirmed the human ship had made contact with a restricted system. A system that was marked as dead space thousands of years ago. No one had gone near it since the early days of the Council's formation. Some members of the Council were furious. They had no right to go there. One shouted, they are outsiders, untrained, uncontrolled. Another added, but others were more concerned about what the humans found. They entered the tomb system, a gray-skinned elder said. If they triggered what sleeps there, none of us are safe. The Council voted to send a reconnaissance fleet to monitor the humans. Back on the behemoth, the encrypted message finally began to unlock. Words started appearing on the main display. Do not follow the stars. They are no longer safe. Captain Rourke stared at the screen. His jaw tightened. The words felt like a whisper from something old. Something watching. Athena decoded more. Fragments. They burned entire systems to stop it. They failed. Suddenly, the lights across the behemoth dimmed. Energy readings dropped. Shields fluctuated. The engineering team reported that the message wasn't just information. It was a program. It had infected the ship's systems, but it wasn't a virus. It didn't destroy anything. It only searched. It scanned every file, every record, every map. Then it stopped. The final message appeared. Something is coming. And now, it knows you are here. The crew stood silent. No one spoke. No one moved. From deep space, a new signal was detected. This one was louder, stronger. It came from a system long thought to be dead. A black star. No orbiting planets, no life signs. Until now, the signal repeated 3 words over and over. We are awake. Captain Rourke ordered the ship to high alert. Weapons armed, shields raised. They didn't know what was coming, but whatever it wasn't far, and they were the ones who woke it. On the bridge, the tactical officer watched the scanners. Multiple unknown contacts, he said. They're not ships, they're structures. Moving ones. The captain gave one command. Hold position. Let's see who they really are. The crew braced. The galaxy had been quiet for too long. That silence was over. The scanners on the behemoth stayed locked on the unknown objects. They moved slowly, like drifting machines, but they were not random. They moved in patterns, calculated, deliberate. The bridge crew watched in silence. No one could identify the shapes. They weren't ships, at least not in the way any species understood them. They looked like machines built from bones and black metal, pulsing with red energy. Athena, the ship's AI, continued scanning. No known design match, she said. These objects are not part of any galactic registry. They are ancient, older, than recorded time. Captain Rourke stood at the center of the bridge. He gave the order to zoom in. The screen sharpened. One of the objects had carvings along its side. Symbols half worn away by time. The same language found inside the alien structure they had just left. The science officer whispered, they match. These things were built by whoever made that structure. The message recovered earlier played again across the speakers. They burned entire systems to stop it. They failed. That message now felt more real. Back in the Galactic Council, chaos had replaced debate. The humans had not only entered the tomb system, they had awakened it. Thousands of years ago, the ancient species that once ruled the galaxy had tried to lock something away. They failed. The Council had covered it up, erased the records, declared the system off-limits. Now, Humanity had stepped inside without knowing. And something old had opened its eyes. A group of high-ranking alien generals demanded action. "We must destroy their ship," one said. "Before it leads that thing to the rest of us. They don't understand what they've done," another added. "And we can't take the risk." But a few voices in the chamber stood against that idea. "They didn't create this threat," one elder said. "They just found it, like we once did. The difference is they're not running." Back on the behemoth, the unknown objects had stopped moving. They floated in space like sleeping giants. Athena reported something strange. "They're scanning us. But not with energy, with memory." Captain Rourke raised an eyebrow. "Explain." "They're not reading our systems. They're reading our history, our journey, our choices." Then a signal came through. Not sound, not language, a burst of pure thought. A message burned into the minds of every crew member on board. "You are not them. But you woke us." Crew members grabbed their heads. Some collapsed to the floor. The vision was brief but terrible. A flash of images, a war that burned. Across the stars, giant machines tearing apart worlds. Cities falling from the skies. And something even worse behind it all, a shadow with no form, watching, waiting. Athena spoke again, but her voice sounded distant. "We've been marked." Suddenly, the objects around the ship vanished, not through movement. 1 second they were there, the next they were gone, like they had never existed. Captain Rourke called for a full system scan. Nothing, just empty space, but the crew felt it. The ship wasn't alone. Something was still there. The data packet from the alien ruin updated itself again. The final piece unlocked. They buried it beneath the stars. It learned, it changed, it waits for light. And now it sees yours. The screen went black. In the engine room, power fluctuated. Lights blinked. Strange energy signatures moved through the hull, not damaging, just watching. The engineering chief checked every system. The readings didn't make sense. "It's not inside the ship," he said. "It's inside the space around us." In the council chamber, new reports came in. Entire systems near the tomb region had gone dark. Probes sent to investigate returned only static. Or didn't return at all. One council elder stood and looked out across the room. "It's begun," he said. A young ambassador asked, "What do we do now?" No one answered. Back on the behemoth, the crew gathered on the observation deck. The stars looked the same, but something felt different. Space itself had changed. Captain Rourke looked at his crew. He saw fear in their eyes, but also resolve. He spoke clearly. "We came out here for a first contact. We didn't know what we would find. Now we do. And it's older than the stars." He turned to Athena. "Send a message to Earth. Full report. No filters. They need to know everything." Athena replied, "Message ready. Sending now." The crew waited. The behemoth had gone out into the dark to find life. They found something else. And it was awake. The behemoth floated in deep space, silent and still. Around it, nothing moved, but the crew knew they were being watched. Every scan showed clear space, but every instinct said something was nearby. Something that didn't want to be seen. Captain Rourke paced slowly across the bridge. The message had been sent to Earth. Every detail, the alien structure, the warning, the things they saw, the visions, the feeling of being marked. Earth had not responded. Not yet. Athena monitored all channels. Still nothing. Suddenly, a new contact appeared on the edge of their sensors. This one was different. A ship, small, fast, not human. The crew tensed. "Alien signature detected," Athena said. "Ship class, unknown. Intent, unclear." Rourke gave the order to hold fire. The alien ship stopped just outside weapons range. Then it sent a message. It was not a threat. It was a request to talk. Inside the behemoth's communication room, the crew prepared for contact. A hologram flickered to life. The image of an alien with thin gray skin, glowing yellow eyes, and sharp features appeared. He wore no armor, just a dark robe with a crest no one recognized. He spoke slowly, his voice calm. "You have awakened something very old. We were not ready, but maybe you are." Captain Rourke leaned forward. "You knew about this?" The alien nodded. "A long time ago, my people served those who built the prison you entered. We were workers, observers. Then, when the darkness came, we ran, like all the others." Rourke asked, "What is it?" The alien paused. "It has no name. It is not a species, it is not a machine. It is something that learned to consume thought, not just matter. It became the shadow between stars. The ones who built the prison burned entire systems to trap it. He looked down for a moment, then continued, "You weren't supposed to find it. But now that you have, it will follow you. It remembers pain. And it fears light." Athena processed the alien's words in real time. The data matched pieces of the old message. It explained the strange signals, the structure. The warning. Captain Rourke asked one final question. "Why come to us?" The alien leaned in. "Because no one else will fight it. The Council fears it. They won't act. They will watch as it spreads again. But your ship, it has power. Your people still choose to stand. That's something we lost." The message ended. A moment later, Athena confirmed that the alien ship had left the area. No trace, no signal, just gone. Back in the Council chamber, the atmosphere had changed. Spy drones had captured the behemoth's conversation. The Council now knew. The humans were not only alive, but making allies. Some demanded action. "They're going to bring this thing back to us. They don't understand what they're doing." But others started to doubt their own fear. "What if they can stop it?" one ambassador asked. "What if that's why they found it?" No decision was made. The Council was divided. Back aboard the behemoth, the crew received their first message from Earth. It was short. "Stay the course. Observe. If engaged, survive." Captain Rourke smiled faintly. "Sounds like home." In the engineering bay, the science team had isolated the energy reading from the dark structures. It wasn't just radiation. It wasn't mechanical. It reacted to thought, emotion, and memory. It searched for patterns in fear. One scientist looked up from his screen. "It doesn't want to destroy us. Not yet. It wants to understand us. Then it will decide." That idea chilled the room. In the lower decks, a young officer reviewed old footage of the first vision. The war, the machines, the shadow. But one image stood out now. A figure at the center of the chaos, human-shaped, surrounded by light, fighting the darkness alone. The AI isolated the frame. It wasn't clear who it was, but it looked like someone in a behemoth suit. Captain Rourke was called to see the image. He stared at it for a long time. No one spoke. It could be a warning, or it could be something else. The future. The stars above the behemoth looked the same, cold, still, but the crew knew something had changed. Deep inside the ship, the engineering teams worked around the clock. They were trying to isolate the strange energy signature that had infected their systems. It wasn't damaging anything. It didn't behave like a virus or a weapon. It was just learning. It moved between systems like thought itself, watching, listening. Athena, the ship's AI, reported something new. The signal has evolved. It is no longer just observing. It is reaching out. Captain Rourke stood on the bridge, staring at the screen. A new shape had appeared in the distance. It looked like a moon, but it wasn't natural. It rotated slowly, surrounded by rings of metal and ash. Its surface pulsed with red light, like a heartbeat in space. No heat, no radio waves. Just presence. Athena's scans confirmed it was older than any known structure. Not a station, not a ship, something else. "We're not looking at a weapon," said the science officer. "We're looking at something built to hold power or contain it." The behemoth held its position. Weapons were armed, but not fired. The crew didn't want to provoke whatever was out there. Then came the second signal, not from the object, but from inside the behemoth. Every screen on the ship turned black. A new phrase appeared, written in thousands of languages. "You were warned. You came anyway. Now you must see." Before anyone could react, the crew was hit with another vision. A flash, a galaxy burning. Ships falling into black holes created by something not made of matter. Cities crumbling as space itself turned against them. And at the center, a figure tall, shadowed, made of darkness and sound. It had no face. Only eyes, eyes that never blinked. The vision ended. The crew staggered back to their stations. Some couldn't breathe. Others were silent. The same thought moved through them all. This wasn't just an old threat. It was a god, a sleeping god. And now it was waking up. Back in the Galactic Council, the fear had turned into silence. Reports confirmed that for more systems near the tomb region had gone dark. No communication, no energy. Just nothing. Ships sent to investigate were lost. The Council's oldest members, those who remembered the early warnings, stood together for The first time in centuries, one of them spoke. It feeds on fear, on memory. The more you think about it, the stronger it becomes. Another added, it cannot be killed by weapons. It must be contained, sealed again, but no one knew how. One faction wanted to flee. Another wanted to sacrifice Earth, but a few looked at the human ship and saw something different. They saw resistance. Back on the behemoth, Earth sent a final message, do not return. Not yet, we are preparing. Captain Rourke understood. Humanity was getting ready for something big. They weren't backing down. The crew took shifts in silence. Weapons were tested, defenses recalibrated. But no one knew what would help against something that wasn't made of matter. In the science wing, Athena and the engineers worked together on a plan. They had isolated the energy pattern inside the ship. If they could reverse it, maybe they could send a message back. Not just words, but emotion, thought, a signal strong enough to get the enemy's attention and show it one thing, that humans were not afraid. They began building what they called a light pulse, a burst of psychic and electromagnetic force, powered by the ship's full core. It would not destroy the entity, but it might confuse it. Push it back. At least for a moment. The engineers warned it could overload systems, maybe even damage Athena. But there was no other choice. Captain Rourke approved it. As the countdown began, the ship grew quiet. The strange moon-shaped object outside still pulsed. Still waited. Athena's voice echoed through the halls. Light pulse ready. Rourke stood tall. Do it. The behemoth lit up with white fire. Every panel, every screen, every light on the ship turned bright. The energy shot out in all directions. Not just light but thought, strength, anger, defiance. For a few seconds, space around them rippled like water. The object outside reacted. It shuddered. And then, for the first time, it screamed, a soundless scream felt in the chest. Like metal bending under pressure. The energy dropped. Lights returned. The object was gone, not destroyed. Not dead, but gone, for now. Captain Rourke exhaled slowly. The ship was still intact. The crew was shaken, but alive. He looked out into the stars. This thing, this god, whatever it is, it expected fear. He turned to the crew. But we're still here. And the behemoth moved forward, into the dark. The behemoth drifted through the edge of the tomb region. Its systems were stable, but tension-filled. Every hallway, the energy blast they used had pushed the enemy back for now. But everyone on board knew it was just the beginning. Athena ran constant scans. No signs of the dark entity. No more strange signals. The ship was quiet. Too quiet. Captain Rourke stood alone in the observation deck, watching the stars. Every move from here mattered. Earth had ordered them not to return. Not because they were rejected, but because Earth was preparing for war. They weren't running. They were building. Back on Earth, the world had changed. For the first time in history, all nations worked together. Old enemies now sat at the same tables. Scientists, engineers, and leaders worked day and night. Shipyards glowed with new energy. Massive warships, once kept in secret, were now being activated. Humanity wasn't going to wait for the dark god to come to them. They were going to meet it head-on. At the same time, a message from the Galactic Council arrived at the behemoth. They wanted to talk. The council was still divided. Some feared the humans, others wanted to form an alliance. But all of them agreed on one thing: the dark entity was real. And it was growing. So far, 7 systems had gone dark. Not destroyed, emptied. No debris, no bodies, just silence. The council asked Captain Rourke to lead a joint strike. He accepted. For the first time, humans would fight alongside alien fleets. They met in orbit around a dying red star. 14 ships from 7 different species. Some used plasma, some used light. None had ever fought together. The behemoth stood at the center. It was still the biggest. Still the strongest. The plan was simple. A full assault on the source of the next signal, an abandoned system with 3 dead worlds and 1 broken moon. Energy readings showed the dark force was gathering there, trying to open something deeper. Maybe another prison, maybe a gate. As the fleet entered the system, the stars seemed to fade. The light grew thinner. Athena reported that the dark energy was changing space itself. It wasn't just feeding on fear anymore. It was creating a zone where physics broke apart, time slowed. Sound vanished, then it came. The darkness didn't arrive like a ship. It appeared like a storm, a shadow across space, shifting, spreading. Inside it were shapes massive, mechanical, but alive, like the one seen before. But now there were more of them. Hundreds. The fleet opened fire. Laser beams, plasma cannons, fusion torpedoes. Every weapon used. Some of the dark machines fell. Some didn't. The behemoth moved into the heart of the fight. Its cannons glowed red. Its shields pulsed with energy. It was designed for war, and now it finally had a war worth fighting. One blast from its forward cannon wiped out an entire wave of enemies. Another cleared a path toward the center, but the darkness pushed back. Alien ships were lost. One after another, their lights faded, screams cut off. It didn't just destroy the ships, it erased them. Removed them from space as if they never existed. Athena raised the alert. The core is forming. They're building something in the center of the system, a full gate. If it opens, more will come. Captain Rourke ordered a direct strike. The behemoth charged forward. The enemy sent everything to stop it. Small ships, drones, black shapes covered in armor. But the behemoth didn't slow down. Missiles flew. Beams tore through the dark. The crew felt every impact. Inside the ship, power surged. Athena began to falter. We're taking damage. Multiple systems failing. Rourke gripped the rail. Keep going. They broke through. At the center of the storm was the gate, a structure made of energy and gravity. And behind it something massive. It hadn't fully arrived, but its shadow already covered the stars. The behemoth activated the core. One final blast. All power, all light. Everything focused into one point. They fired. The gate cracked. Then exploded. The dark shapes froze. The energy wave tore through the system. For a second, everything went still. Then the enemy vanished. No wreckage. No sign. Nothing. The storm faded. The stars returned. The fleet was half gone. But the behemoth was still there. Barely. Sparks flew across the bridge. Systems rebooted. Athena's voice returned, weak but clear. We're still here. Captain Rourke sat down, breathing heavy. We stopped it. But only for now. From far beyond the stars, something watched. And waited. The battlefield was silent. Where the storm once raged, there was now only drifting debris and empty space. The behemoth hovered alone, scarred but standing. Sparks flickered from broken panels. Fires had been contained, bodies had been recovered, but the heart of the ship still beat. Inside the command deck, Captain Rourke sat in silence. Around him, the crew moved slowly, checking systems, patching damage, scanning space. Athena's voice was soft and strained, but still active. We have no new contacts. All dark signals have ended. For now, the fleet was gone. Half of the alien ships never made it out. Some were destroyed, others simply vanished, pulled into the dark before the gate collapsed. But they had one. Not with superior numbers. Not with advanced knowledge. They won because they stood their ground, because they refused to run. A message arrived from Earth. It was short. You held the line. And we are ready. The Council sent a message too. One of respect and one of fear. Many now saw the truth. The Dark God was not fully gone. It had only been delayed, pushed back, sealed for now. But it would return. And when it did, they would need leaders. They would need warriors. They would need humans. The Council extended an offer. A seat among the high species, a place of power. Not just as guests, but as protectors. Captain Rourke listened quietly. He knew what it meant. For centuries, humanity had been treated as young, weak, emotional. Now they were seen for what they truly were. Survivors. Builders. Fighters. Titans. But the crew didn't celebrate. They didn't hold parades. Too many were gone. Too much had been lost. In the medbay, soldiers rested beside scientists. Pilots beside diplomats. No one was untouched. But all of them had earned their place. In the ship's memory core, the vision appeared again. The one seen before the first battle. The one with a figure standing alone in the fire. Now the image was clear. It was not a warning. It was a reflection. It was Rourke, or someone like him, standing in light, facing the dark, without fear. Athena's voice returned. I believe the entity saw this future and feared it. Rourke replied, it should. The crew began repairs. Slowly, carefully, messages were sent to other ships. Survivors were found. New alliances formed. Alien crews who once doubted humans now asked to train with them. Learn from them. The behemoth became more than a ship. It became a symbol. the place where the galaxy first saw the truth that humanity would not just survive in space. They would lead, they would fight, and if needed, they would stand alone in the dark, because when the old powers fall and the ancient gods rise again, the Titans will rise with them. And now, the galaxy knows their name.